The existence of Freddie Mercury, the prohibited realities. Perhaps of the most famous figure on the world music scene, Freddie Mercury is known for his one-of-a-kind voice, touchy stage presence and melodies that characterized a whole period. However, behind the spotlight, there were numerous parts of his life that stayed obscure, mystery or even questionable. In this paper we will investigate 20 of these viewpoints, fostering the accounts and occasions that make up the Freddie Mercury legend. 1. His genuine name. Freddie Mercury was brought into the world as Farrokh Bulsara on September 5, 1946 in Zanzibar, an island then piece of the Sultanate of Zanzibar, presently Tanzania. The name Farrokh mirrors his foundations in the Parsi people group, a little strict and ethnic gathering that follows Zoroastrianism. At the point when he moved to Britain with his family, he chose to change his name to Freddie to more readily coordinate into Western culture. This change stamped a viable decision, yet in addition the start of the formation of his public persona. 2. His starting point. Freddie's folks, Bohmi and Jer Bulsara, were Parsis of Indian drop. His family was emphatically associated with the customs of Zoroastrianism, and Freddie experienced childhood in a climate where otherworldliness and confidence were critical. Despite the fact that he later got away from religion, these foundations impacted his imaginative articulation, as well as the multiculturalism that portrayed his music. 3. The mystery about his sexuality. Freddie Mercury was a man who liked to keep his own life away from public scrutiny. Despite the fact that he had associations with all kinds of people, he never transparently examined his sexuality. This choice was somewhat because of the social shame of the time, yet in addition because of his longing to safeguard his security. 4. His relationship with Jim Hutton. Jim Hutton, an Irish stylist, was Freddie Mercury's accomplice for quite some time, until his passing in 1991. Their relationship remained for all intents and purposes obscure to the general population during Freddie's lifetime. Hutton really focused on Freddie during the last long periods of his life, when the vocalist was engaging guides, and remained by him until the end. 5. His well-being. During the 1980s, Freddie Mercury was determined to have HELLPS, an infection that at the time implied close to 100% demise. In spite of the fact that tales about his well-being were flowing, he stayed quiet about the matter. Not long from now before his passing, on November 23, 1991, he gave an assertion freely conceding that he had HELLPS. 6. The showdown with the press. Freddie Mercury had a turbulent relationship with the media. The press frequently centered around his own life, spreading bits of hearsay and stories that caused melodrama. This negative exposure made him keep away from meetings and public appearances off stage. 7. His fortune. At the point when Freddie Mercury passed on, he left a large portion of his domain to Mary Austin, his previous accomplice. Mary, whom he depicted as his main companion, assumed an urgent part in his life. His accomplice, Jim Hutton, got a more modest legacy, which brought up issues about the elements of their relationship. 8. His relationship with his loved ones. Freddie's relationship with his family was mind-boggling. His folks, especially his mom, Jer, were moderate and experienced issues with his way of life. Notwithstanding the distinctions, Freddie kept up serious areas of strength with his family and regarded them profoundly. 9. His hair splitting. Freddie Mercury was known for his hair splitting. While recording, he maintained that everything about be awesome, which prompted clashes with different individuals from Sovereign. This methodology, be that as it may, was the justification for why the band's melodies gained their novel quality. 10. The suggestive undertakings. Freddie Mercury had numerous connections, some of which endured momentarily and others that went on for quite a long time. His associations with all kinds of people upgraded his standing as a man who lived without limitations. 11. The self-preoccupation. Regardless of his touchy stage presence, Freddie Mercury was a bashful and thoughtful man. He favored protection and partook in the organization of nearby circles. 12. Weakness about his appearance. Freddie Mercury was unreliable about his teeth, which projected marginally. Despite the fact that he considered fixing them, he expected that this would influence his voice. 13. The creation of Bohemian song. Bohemian composition is one of the most famous melodies ever. Freddie Mercury worked seriously on the melody, which was at first thought of insane by the makers. His perseverance, nonetheless, prompted the formation of a magnum opus. 14. His persuasions. Freddie Mercury was impacted by different melodic customs like drama, conventional Indian music and rock. These impacts formed his special style. 15. Love for felines. Freddie Mercury adored his felines and thought of them as his relatives. He frequently conversed with them and composed tunes about them. 16. The Party of the 100 Years. His 39th birthday celebration party in New Orleans has been known as the most outrageous party in music history. It included ensembles, live exhibitions and inconceivable extravagance. 17. The secret around his memorial service. Freddie Mercury's memorial service was held away from public scrutiny as per Zoroastrian traditions. His family regarded his desires for attentiveness. 18. His secret profession as a painter. Prior to turning into a performer, Freddie Mercury concentrated on craftsmanship and visual communication. He planned the Sovereign logo, which mirrors his multiculturalism and inventiveness. 19. His melodic heritage. Freddie Mercury abandoned unreleased tunes that are as yet protected today. These melodies are an indication of his creative ability. 20. The mystery of the burial place. The area of Freddie Mercury's remains stays obscure. Mary Austin, who assumed responsibility, regarded his desires for outright mystery. Freddie Mercury was a man who lived with energy, inventiveness and opportunity. Past his voice and his music, his legend is profoundly attached to his feeling that he was never reluctant to act naturally. Notwithstanding the challenges, he made a daily existence brimming with craftsmanship, motivation and credibility. His legend stays alive, advising us that one's actual inheritance isn't restricted to one's works, however to the heart he places into what he makes.